but it doesn't look good that your Mr. Olympia is doing a buff on Google with everybody else. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I'm just saying, I'm not saying he shouldn't around. You know what I mean? I shouldn't talk. Yeah, I shouldn't talk. I cheated on my wife for years. I gave you as a fan my perspective. As my perspective is, he should have competed. Okay, I would like to have seen him compete. That's my perspective as a guy in the sport of bodybuilding. I'm in the industry and a fan. Now, take me out of there to thinking more like a businessman. I say, F him, we don't want him. He'll taint our show. Imagine if he wins this year.
I want to ask you about the issue of Shawn Rhoden and the Olympia. So you're aware, right? Shawn Rhoden was accused of rape, and right away, I think it was the next day or even the same day when the news came out, Olympia banned him from competing this year. Now, obviously he didn't compete, and you know, there's a new Mr. Olympia now. So what do you think about that ban that happened almost the same day as the accusation came out? What do you think about that?
I think the ban with Shawn Rhoden, I have mixed feelings about that. Because you don't know that Shawn Rhoden raped anybody. He's innocent until proven guilty.
Right.
Okay. And if he is guilty, he fucking deserves to be fucking get whatever he gets coming to him. Because I don't like guys that do that. I have no respect for that. Now, the ban. Bodybuilding is it's not a normal sport. It's run by an organization that makes the rules, doesn't have to apply rules like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? They can do whatever the ban was to protect, I think, the integrity of the show. And
by the way, for the record, Olympia banned him, not,
yes, no,
not
I know,
the IFBB.
No, not the IFBB.
Right.
It was AMI, Pecker. He got banned by a Pecker. A Pecker got him in trouble both times. Get it? A Pecker got him in trouble. A Pecker f***ed him. There you go. A Pecker f***ed him, and possibly his Pecker f***ed somebody else. Anyway, you got to keep that in there. Don't cut that out. Anyway, no, I know it was Pecker that did, but the thing is, though, they're trying to do what baseball does. There's accusations. You know, you hit your wife, you beat your wife, just like Herman. The only thing is Herman, I think, did it in front of somebody from
they banned
MLB.
him too?
Yeah, wasn't allowed to play even in the ALCS here, and that's possibly one of the reasons why the Yankees might have lost was they didn't have him to go to. You know, so what I'm trying to tell you is that I think that they're trying to the integrity of the show. They feel like, look, these are serious allegations here. Right. Enough. This is listen, guys. I'm giving Shawn Rhoden the benefit of the doubt. Okay. Where there's smoke, there's fire, is what I'm saying. So there has something obviously happened. All right. So we know that he probably did the hibbity-dibbity with her. Okay. Now it's going to come down to whether she consented or he just, took it upon himself. That's the part that we have to find out. But he's innocent until proven guilty. So I give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But you also have to understand that, this is a business and the show must go on. And either way, it was bad behavior. And they're going to, you can't, I know it's a really tough thing, but AMI has to look out for what AMI. Because
if, let's say, he does win and then
they find out, right, the rapist is, right.
Yeah. So.
And the other thing, the other thing I was trying to spit out here, where I don't know why it took me so long, is the fact that there's enough evidence. That's why I started with the whole smoke is fire. There's enough evidence that something went foul, that they investigated this for like 8 months until they finally said, let's arrest him. You know what I mean?
I don't know too much details. I just heard that it was accusation.
Well, it happened right after the Olympia, I think, right? And then like last October or something.
I don't know the details. I can't even talk about it.
I just know that and they investigate. But they don't just make arrests. You can't just arrest somebody because this girl came down. It has to be, they do investigation. Supposedly there was bruising inside her. I don't know.
So why 8 months later then?
Because they had to do an investigation.
For 8 months?
Yeah. Well, that's why. That's what I heard. Guys, I might be wrong. You know what I mean? I don't know. According to my girlfriend, I'm wrong about everything. But it could be I know it was later on. I'm pretty sure that this happened. I think now it's been about a year. I think. But all I know is either way, even if it happened 3 weeks, there was an investigation and they investigated it enough where they felt like we have to arrest him. They're not arresting him just on her word. Those are serious. I mean, next to murder, rape is right up there.
No, there's no question about it. But as far as the ban goes, did you agree or disagree with it? Because some people strongly disagreed and they said it was just, what's going on here is just an accusation.
Well, as a fan of bodybuilding, I disagree with it because I would have liked to have seen him on stage against these guys.
Right.
Okay, because I think he would have won again. Just like I think that Phil Heath, if he would have competed, he probably would have won again. But that's as a fan. But I understand the business end of this sport, and I understand how what you just said hit the nail on the head. If he's going to win, imagine if he wins, and 6 months from now we'll find out he's arrested. Now he's rearrested, and now he's going to jail. And he's, it's going to be like, you have to find out, dude. Don't do that you can't own up to. Do you understand? I don't care. First of all, he's married. So if, his wife and kids got up on stage, and who am I to say anything? But what I'm saying is, it just doesn't look good. You do things, you know what I mean? Do you understand what I'm saying?
No, I totally understand. But, that's rape and that is two different things.
No, absolutely. But it doesn't look good that you're Mr. Olympia is doing a buff on Google with everybody else. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, I'm not saying he shouldn't around. You know what I mean? I shouldn't
That's
talk.
between him and his family, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I shouldn't talk. I cheated on my wife for years. I gave you as a fan my perspective. As my perspective is, should have competed. Okay? I would like to have seen him compete. That's my perspective as a guy in the sport of bodybuilding. I'm in the industry and a fan. Now, take me out of there to thinking more like a businessman. I say, him, we don't want him. He'll taint our show. Imagine if he wins this year, and now all of a sudden it's all over the place. Mr. Olympia arrested for he's a rapist. It dirties our show. You know what? We'll draw more people if we take him out. Now there's going to be a new Mr. Olympia because they're thinking that's the way they think.
Mm-hmm. So Brennan Curry won the show this year and became the new Mr. Olympia. Some people came out afterwards, even some legendary people, like Dorian Yates, and they've kind of, they said that, I guess, I don't want to quote anybody specifically, but they weren't impressed, I would say. Not as impressed, and they said that, if somebody else would have competed against him, he probably wouldn't have won on a higher level, What is your take on that?
This is my take. You can't take guys out of their era. If Dorian Yates, if you're fucking watching this, listen to me. You can't take guys out of the era, because if you say in your era he wouldn't have won, or you could have won in this era, we don't know what Dorian Yates would have looked like. He might have tried to get bigger, and you know what happens when you get bigger? You lose your lines. Do you understand? I'm talking about Dorian Yates. Mm-hmm. So if Dorian said like he could never have competed against guys, you can't say that, because he's a different. His situation, the way he trains, the way he takes his shit, the babanya, all that stuff is different from the way those guys did. It's different. You can't compare the two. Does that make sense?
No, I understand.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's like you can't take a guy out of their era, because their era is what their environment. It's their environment that, in that environment, you were Big Willie. You know what I'm saying? But you can't say that you take a guy out of this, you can't say that. It's not.
I agree with you.
Most guys, if they tried to compete today, some of them great. Arnold, let's say we took Arnold and we said we want him to compete today, okay? He'd probably get killed, and not even because what's going to happen is Arnold's 6'1", maybe 6. He says he's 6'2". He ain't no 6'2", but anyway, I'm 6'2". You're right. But if you put Arnold in today's era, he would probably. What if he started using insulin and all this other shit, like all these other guys do, to have that advantage, to keep a level playing field? I'm going to do the same thing you're going to do. You know what would happen? Arnold would come out with a wider waist. bloated. He wouldn't have that Arnold structure that we know him for. That's his era. That was his time. He did, in his time, that's what happened. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Of course.
See, you can't do that. You can't say, you can't say that, like, Aaron Judge would hit more home runs 20 years ago, because now today everybody throws 98 to 100 miles an hour, and back then, 92 was considered fast. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You can't say that because they threw more junk, and he's a fastball hitter. You don't know. You'll never know. Dorian Yates should know better than say that. You should know better.
His opinion. I mean, he said his opinion.
He has his opinion, but I love Dorian. I'm not against. I think Dorian Yates is a genius in a lot of ways. Yeah. But he comes out with some stuff like the Holocaust was not real. They were a bunch of. Yeah.
I never heard that.
Steve Bleck. What? Google it. Steve Bleckman made me write it. I wrote an article.
Wow.
Basically, telling Dorian, wait, what? Are you kidding me?
Dorian Yates said that? That's crazy. I want to ask you about the current wave of talent that's coming out of Iran. Hadi Choopan just finally made it. It's obviously the travel ban, so they can't make it out to U.S. competitions.
Right.
So Hadi Choopan finally came to U.S. He's from 212 division.
Right.
And he took third place at the Men's Open Olympia this year. Do you think if there wasn't for a travel ban, maybe the whole bodybuilding would have been dominated by the Iranians coming from Iran and competing in the U.S. soil here?
Okay, here's my take on that. Those guys are living, eating, sleeping, farting, bodybuilding, and that's why in that gym, I got a whole spin about that.
What gym are you talking about? Are you talking about Kuwait right now?
Yeah, I'm talking about Kuwait.
I'm talking about just Iran. I'm talking about Iran. Iran specifically.
Iran. Okay, that's because they're almost doing. I almost feel like it's like a Hitler thing. I don't think that their genetics is superior. I think that their government basically says, you're good. Oh, you're bodybuilding and you look good. You have a chance to give him whatever he wants. What does he want? They have unlimited money. You understand? How does like they work, they sleep. I mean, they work out all day. They sleep. I think he's no different from any one of those guys from the Middle East. I think whether it's Iraq, Kuwait, Iran, Afghanistan, whatever those guys are from, Egypt, they all go to Oxygen Gym, okay? And you got somebody over there fanning you off, okay? There's no girls in the gym. Why is there no girls in that gym? Why is there no? There's guys who are permanent, not permanent spotters. They're spotters. They help you spot. If you blew a fart in there, some guys over there fanning it off. That's bad fart. You know what I mean? You got shit like that going on over there. They're at the point. The food is all waiting for you. The drugs. Take more drugs. Fast carbs. Don't drink sugar. Drink butter. All this other bullshit. So what I'm saying to you is that their whole thing is we don't care. We're going to back you. They got rich backing. And in those countries, even the government, like when Iraq was the soccer team, they were like, give them what they fucking need. I don't care. You know what I mean? Cut off anybody's head. Like Saddam Hussein, his son used to run the soccer team. If they lost a game, he would go fucking crazy. He would have guys' legs broken and shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you know that. This is truth. And I'm just saying, they become obsessed and they want to be like they want that. That's what they're looking for. We want the Oxygen Gym guys they all go to Oxygen. Doesn't that guy go to Oxygen Gym or no?
No, he does. But what I'm saying is, if there wasn't for the travel ban, do you think the guys from Iran would take over many shows in bodybuilding in the United States, talent-wise, and also their drive to dominate?
Okay, see, I thought he was from Oxygen Gym. I thought
No. Hadi's from Iran. Completely.
But he don't go to Kuwait? It's right there.
No, I don't think so.
You sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Because they all look the same to me. You cut off the head, they all look the same. I maybe I'm wrong, but I didn't see his genetics.
He got a third at the Olympia. You know who I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
That's a crazy accomplishment. Think about it. First time at the Olympia. First time ever. Third place. And he's from the 212 division.
But he was in there. I understand that. But he was in there with condition and everything. I just don't see. His physique to me isn't. I don't know. I like a lot of guys better. But regardless, Of course, if you took the travel ban but they're obsessed with doing that. That's their thing. Their whole sole purpose is in certain sports is like now they're finding that bodybuilding is big over in the Middle East. Right. So they want their guys, they're willing to do whatever it takes. They get government backing. Do you think that Hadi Chopin's out there like, you know, herding sheep and shit all day or doing, no. You know what I mean? I just think, yes, if you're asking about travel ban, of course, I don't think they would take over bodybuilding. You know what I mean? But I do think obviously it changes, you know, it makes the competition stiffer.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I don't mean to go off on a whole spin.
No.
I thought he was an Oxygen Gym guy. I thought they all migrate from there, but because I'm a firm believer that Oxygen Gym, you cannot. I just did a video about this. You cannot compare Oxygen Gym with the Mecca Gold's Gym in its prime, in its heyday. You had female bodybuilders, you had movie stars, celebrities, models, porn stars, everything there. You had the greatest bodybuilders in the world. And whenever the whole Olympia lineup would show up there before, before weeks before the Olympia, they would all train and it was a camaraderie, it was a crazy. It was an animal house, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You can't compare that with that flavor with what Oxygen Gym brings today.